All right. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Sharang Mari. I represent Seed Global Education, and I'd like to thank each of you for taking out time after your busy schedules, after university, after work, wherever you are joining us from, on your mobile phones, on your laptops, on your desktops, on your iPads. Thank you so much for taking our time. We have 140, 150 of you almost in this very room. Before we start and before we learn about what's in store for us. This session is brought to you by Singapore Management University, and over the next 90 odd minutes, we'll learn about how you can build a global career from Singapore, and you will learn not only from Singapore Management University's admission team, but also from their alumni and also from incoming students. Over the next 90 minutes, that is over the next 60 minutes rather, we have so much exciting stuff in store for you. We have a panel, we have a lot of questions, and we are going to give you the opportunity to ask some questions as well. Before we go into questions and before we go into all of these things, I would like to invite each of you, 230 odd of you in this room, to let us know which city you are joining in us from. Use the chat window and let us know which city in India or away from India you're joining us from. Shivam's joining us from Delhi. Welcome, Shivam. Delhi, Bangalore, Delhi, a lot of Delhi folks in here, Visakhapatnam, Surat in the west, Noida, Mumbai, Hubli, Karnataka, a lot of folks from Delhi here. So I think, Marie, we do have a lot of folks from Delhi. I think someone's joining us from Johannesburg as well. So, thanks so much for joining in. Singapore is a great destination to pursue masters, even if you are from South Africa as well. It's a gateway into Asia, Kolkata as well. So we have folks here from the length and breadth of the country, east and west, north and south, and it is just turning out to be a little after 7:30 here in India. And I'd like to thank everyone who has joined this session to actually go and take this live. I'm going to start off with a poll question. There's going to be a poll that is currently launched on your screen right now. The poll question is something very simple. What are you hoping to learn from this session? We are talking about either you want to learn more about the admissions criteria or tips to how to build a stronger profile, or do you want information about funding and scholarships, or you also want to talk about career opportunities for international students. Now, I know that most of you want to learn all of the above, but we want to try and understand what you want to focus on a little more. We have close to 35% of folks that you have answered. So if you cannot see this poll right that is popping up on your screen, go to the buttons and look for poll and just take a second to answer this question. I'm going to keep it live for the next 10 seconds just for you to understand what are you hoping to learn from this session. Um, Admissions, profile building, funding, scholarships, or career opportunities. I'm going to end this poll now, just at the stroke of 60 seconds, and I'm going to share the results for all our panelists and our sessions. It is really a mixed bag. Every student wants to know about everything. It's close to 25% for each of those. So we had 150 odd you of who answered, and each of you want to know about the admissions criteria, profile building, funding, scholarships, career opportunities. So I think that gives us a good sense of Marie, and to the alumni, Anushka, Divya, Seema, and also to the incoming student Aarti about what you can expect. All right, so less of me. I have done a lot of talking right now, but before I introduce the alumni, I'd like to introduce you to someone who is going to take us through the next particular slide. We are going to hear a little bit from Marie, who's the postgraduate admissions manager at Singapore Management University, Lee Kong Chen School of Business. Marie has been there since 2020, and she is dedicated on championing postgraduate programs at SMU. Marie, thank you so much for taking our time to do this. And we want to learn a little bit about SMU and the admissions process from you over the next few minutes. Over to you, Marie.
Thank you so much, Sharang, for the introduction, and I'm very happy to be here today and share more about the SMU pedagogy and also a little bit more about the MIM program and the admissions process. So just give me a second and I will be sharing my screen. Okay, all good with my screen. Everyone can see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So, like Sharon mentioned, my name is Marie. I am from the SMU Lee Kong Chian School of Business, part of SMU. So, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with SMU, so SMU is quite a young university. We turned 25 this year, and we are actually the third autonomous university to be built in Singapore. So we are what you would say a specialist university because unlike our older siblings, we don't offer a full suite of degrees. So instead, what we do is we specialize in business and management degrees. Now, as a specialist university that focuses mainly on business and management, naturally, we have very strong ties with the industries. And we also do have a lot of senior management and senior members of industries who are actually serving on our school advisory boards. Now, we're also one of the largest business schools here in Singapore. So as you can see from this picture, we are located in a very vibrant space right in the middle of the central business district. Therefore, you will find that in classes, we often invite industry speakers to contribute to our classroom discussions. And a lot of times they're very willing to do so because of our campus location. So we have this very symbiotic relationship with the industry, which allows us to be agile, proactive, and this also actually helps us to stay ahead of emerging trends. So as a student of SMU, you will get to actually leverage on this very extensive network. So as a young university, we have actually achieved quite a bit so far. So in terms of our research and recognition, so LKCSV actually is the youngest school in the world to hold this thing called the Triple Crown accreditation. So this accreditation is only awarded to 1% of business schools in the world. Now, this includes the AACSB, which is an American accreditation body. We have the EQUIS, which is the European equivalent, and then we have EMBA, which is the Association of MBAs from the UK. Now, as I mentioned earlier, SMU is considered a specialist university, and under the QS rankings for that, we are placed 15th in the world. Now, for the MIM program specifically, according to Financial Times, we are ranked 5th in Asia and 41 globally. And all these accreditations and rankings are a huge testament to the quality of our curriculum, the relevancy of our curriculum, as well as the caliber of our faculty. Now, if you take a look at this picture here, this is exactly how all our classrooms are modeled. So this is done intentionally in a seminar style so that there is room for that classroom conversations and classroom sparring. So we also place emphasis on class participation, group projects, and we also bring out real clients, real business issues for our students so that they are able to learn more. Now, our graduates have been praised highly for their soft skills, as this is something we want to cultivate in our students so that they can embrace this mindset and prepare themselves for what is next in the business world. Now, as a business school, we are not here just to train you in the technical aspect, but we are also looking, for people who have the potential to be leaders of future business communities. So essentially, we want to have students who are willing to make a bigger impact, not just economically, but also socially. So if you look at the MIM calendar, so the MIM is actually an 18-month full-time program, which has 2 intakes every year. We have one in January and one in August. So because we accept students from any field from all over the world, our core modules actually cover business foundation. So you can see we have marketing, we have global economics, we have managing people, strategy, operations. So these are essential skills that we feel our students need to have. Now, if you look at the timetable, you can also see this thing which is very unique to the curriculum. It's called the SMU XO. Now, what the SMU X is that the X stands for experiential. So this is where you actually get to do your real projects with real companies, serving real clients with a real life, real-time issue. Now, students have to take what they have learned during the program to solve this problem. So you become somewhat of like a consultant in that sense. Now, what the O stands for, it actually represents overseas. So for example, last year, our students got the chance to go to Japan or Bangkok. So if you're interested in a developing country, then you can actually choose to go to countries like Bangkok or Vietnam. So we give options to our students, yeah? If you're interested in a developed country, then you can actually have the option to choose to go to Japan. So in the next, once you have completed your core modules, we then move on to the specialization tracks. And that is actually where you complete your electives. I'll complete that in the next slide. So likewise, for the August intake, you have to meet the same requirements, but the only difference is that there is the different scheduling of the various activities. So if you look at it, even though it's an 18-month program, the first year is actually dedicated to the academics, and then the next half of it is actually dedicated to the internship. So the MIM program actually consists of a compulsory internship component. So students have to undertake a minimum 10-week compulsory internship to fulfill the graduation requirements. But most of the time, the internship would be about 3 to 6 months. Now, if you look at the electives, so we actually have 4 elective specializations. We have marketing track, we have an operations track, we have a finance track, and we have a sustainability track. Now, these specialization tracks are actually useful for students who want to pivot into a particular area, or if they want to deepen their knowledge in a specific area. But at the end of the day, this is a general management program. So the tracks, the specialization tracks are purely optional. You don't have to do it. What you can do is you can actually just do a pick and mix of the different electives that are offered. Typically, we would advise students to actually choose electives that will be most beneficial to them in terms of what they want to accomplish next after they have graduated from the program. So there's also opportunities for you to strengthen your global exposure. So apart from the SMU XO, we also do have exchange programs for students to consider. So currently, we have 4, but we are still looking to build this up to 8 different partner universities. So you can see that there is the diversity in terms of the type of partners that we are currently partnered with. So you can go to, universities like IE Business School, Queen's University, and in fact, we are expanding this to universities in Australia as well. So when you come to SMU, you're not just looking at Asian business, but also some global exposure so that you have this diverse perspective. Now, combining that, we actually want to help you to gain some special advantages, especially when it comes to the job market. Now, if you look at the MIM class profile, so you can see that it's a very diverse class profile. Most of our students come from within the ASEAN region. We have about 240 students in the entire cohort. Majority of our students make up of international students. The average work experience is about less than a year. But with that being said, a lot of our students also do have internship experiences. So when you do come to the classroom, you will expect to hear that diversity also in terms of, what different expertise as well from your peers. The average age is 25 years. So in terms of, networking with students, most of you will be like-minded. You won't have to worry about any age gap or anyone that is too senior in terms of the work experience as well. And in terms of the average GMAT, it will be about 660. Okay, so because there is a mandatory internship component that is embedded within the program, naturally, we will be there to support you and guide you. So students do have access to one-on-one career coaching, as you can see from this picture. So things like how to spruce up your resume, how to spruce up your profile. So essentially, we'll be giving you guidance and tips on how you can actually stand out. We will also be sending you for a lot of networking events and job fairs for you to attend. Now, a very common question I get is, hey, Marie, is it you're going to give us, is SMU going to give me an internship? So no, we're not going to give you an internship. We're not going to give you the fish, but what we're going to do is we're going to teach you how to fish. So we're going to be providing you with a lot of guidance and resources. At the end of the day, you will still need to interview for these internships like you would any other job. Yeah. So the type of internships you secure would very much depend on what is available out there, as well as how well you perform during the interview and if you have the skills, and the criteria of what the employers are looking for. Now, in terms of the admissions requirements, so what you require to have is at least a minimum bachelor's degree. So very common question would be, can we apply for the program if we have not obtained our degree as yet? So as long as you graduate before the program starts, you can put in an application first and not have had your bachelor degree yet. So all we would require would be a letter of completion from your university just to show that you have completed this degree. Yeah, so you can put in your application first. In terms of the resume, so yes, even though you may not have any work experience, we still would like to see a resume from you, which shares, with us all your achievements. We still want to get to know you. You will also need to provide us with 2 essays and 2 referees. Now, the essays would be essentially sharing with us what your motivations are for wanting to join the program. In terms of the referees, you don't need to get your referees to write you a long letter. What happens is that when you are putting in your application, you will be required to put in their details, contact details. Once you have submitted your application, an online form will be triggered to them. So it will be very easy for them to complete the referee form. Yeah. Now, very common question also in terms of the admissions test. So is the admissions test required? So yes, we accept GMAT or GRE, but if you don't have that, we also have this test called the SMU admissions test. So that's our very own test, which you can opt to take if you don't have a GMAT or the GRE. So put in your application, let us know you want to take the test, and we'll guide you on the next steps. Now, in terms of the TOEFL and IELTS, it's only required if your undergrad degrees studies was not taught in English. So no special approvals required as long as your undergrad was taught in English. You don't have to submit these English test scores to us. And last but not least, there will also be an interview. So the interview is, I would say, one of the most crucial points of the admissions, because this is the point where we actually get to meet you, get to speak to you face to face, per se, and also a way for you to just put everything together and align everything and just share with us what your motivations are in wanting to join the program. Now, the application process happens fairly quickly if you can see this timeline over here. So the moment you put in your application, typically within 2 to 3 business days, you should hear from us in terms of what is outstanding in terms of your application. We will do the application review. We will get back to you. We'll let you know what is outstanding. Then you can let us know whether you'll be submitting a GMAT GRE score or if you want to do the SMU admissions test. Now, once you have met the test requirements, you will then move on to the admissions interview, and that usually happens within a week. After you have done the admissions interview, typically you should hear from us within 1 to 2 weeks on the status of your application. Now, in terms of the finances, there will be an application fee of Singapore $100. So everything is in Singapore dollars. But attendees for today's session will actually get a promo code to have this waived off. So I think the SEED team will be reaching out to you on that. If you're interested in taking the SME admissions test, it's $125 per attempt, and we allow you up to 4 attempts. There is a $400 registration fee for Singaporean PRs and $500 registration fee for international students. That's the only difference, in terms of the fees. The total tuition fee is $59,950. But to secure your seat, if you are successfully offered, there will be a $5,000 advance fee which you will need to place to secure your seat in the program. And then the $5,000 will be deducted from the total tuition fee after you've tried the program. So not to worry. Now, in terms of scholarships and financial aid, so you can see that there are scholarships that are listed there in black. So the ones that are listed in black are the ones that you can apply for, and you can only apply for the scholarship after you have successfully received an offer from the university. All right. So if you receive the offer from the university, we will give you a scholarship link for you to apply. We allow you to apply for as many scholarships as you think that you're eligible for, but you will need to support these scholarship applications with essays to tell us why you deserve that particular scholarship. Now, for the scholarships that are in blue, now, these scholarships, you do not need to apply for them. So what happens is that based on your profile, we will evaluate, we will review, we'll send it to the scholarships committee. And if we think that you are eligible, we will award you. Yeah. So there are also certain discounts that are available over here. So you can see the scholarships are up to 15,000 and the discounts are up to 8,000. Now, in terms of the scholarships, it's a tiered scholarship. So it's $5,000, $10,000, and $15,000. So the type of scholarship tier that you will get very much depends on the strength of your profile, as well as the strength of the essays that you have submitted. Right, okay. So this will be my last slide. So we are already accepting applications for the January 2026 intake. Applications close in October, and we only open for the August 2026 intake in September this year. If you'd like to reach out to us to find out more, you can either speak to us directly through this admissions email here. You can scan this QR code, or you can scan the QR code on the right-hand side. So we are having consultation sessions tomorrow. So if you'd like to speak to us directly, you can scan this QR code to sign up for the event that's happening tomorrow. All right.
Thank you so much, Marie. I think that was, super fabulous. I've also shared the link if you'd like to have a personalized conversation about yourself, your profile, and about your chances. And if you hadn't scanned the QR code, that same QR code link is also in this chat, so you can have a look at that whenever you deem fit as well. Marie, thank you so much. That was wonderful. What I'm going to do right now, as promised, we are going to open this up to some Q&A with these wonderful panelists that we have. And I'm going to start introducing each of the panelists, in this particular slide. We first have Divya Garg, who is an alumnus of SMU's MIM program. She finished her academic bachelor's degree from Delhi University before focusing on a business-based program. She's built a strong foundation now in product marketing, business development, and currently she works at KPMG in Singapore. So she's part of the Big Four, and that is right after her program at SMU. We also have Anushka Mathur. Anushka, thank you so much for doing this. It's close to 7 a.m., where she's based, because she's right now in the US. She's as well an SMU alum, and she specializes in building omni-channel marketing solution that fuels brands and consumer engagement. She's worked at a lot of companies, including Amadeus and Merkel, and she's got built a lot of strategies across digital. So overall, she's the person, if you're looking at marketing, who you can connect with to understand a little more about SMU and the MS program in management, which is the MIM as well. She's also currently pursuing her MSc in business analytics at the University of Washington. So it's not just an MIM program, but she's also looking to super specialize into new facets of business. Thanks, Anushka, for taking our time to do this. We also have an incoming student. So you're not just hearing from alumni, you'll also hear from Aarti, who's an incoming student. She's going to be joining the SMU's MIM program relatively soon. She's a biotechnology graduate from Amity University, Gurgaon, and she has a background, and we're going to ask her a little bit about why she's picked up, SMU, especially from the background, which is a non-business background. Aarti, thank you so much for joining as well. We also have Seema, who represents SMU in India, and she will be your one point of contact if you are thinking of SMU. We already had opened it up to questions for the 500 plus of you that are in this very room. I know Seema and team have answered 8 questions very well. There are 15 open questions, but we'd love the questions to keep flowing. So if you have questions about SMU to any of the alumni, to Marie, to Seema, to Aarti as well, who's an incoming student, please feel free to add that in the Q&A tab. Over the next 35 minutes, I'm going to be taking you through some insights that could help your decision making for SMU or not. Let's start with you, Marie. I think you did talk about the SMU program, that there's a very interesting question, like a one-line question that's part of the Q&A tab. And I think Divya and Anushka, you could also answer this. There's a question when in your first slide, you said SMU is a special, there's something special about SMU, right? And I know, Seema also wanted to ask this question. I think Samruddhi has asked, what do you exactly mean by a specialist university? Every university is known for having something more interesting than the others. What is SMU's speciality?
Okay, so what I was referring to, so unlike our older siblings, like I mentioned, we are not a university that offers that full suite of degrees. So we don't offer degrees like engineering, we don't offer degrees like medical. So if you look at the degrees that we offer, it's mainly business and management degrees, hence also, Singapore Management University. And so you will notice that just purely business management degrees, that's how we come up with the term specialist university, specializing in business and management. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks so much for that, Maria. I'm going to ask the same question, but just try and change this question a little bit for Divya and Anushka. And in first, Divya, if you'd like to go first. You've spent your 18 months at SMU. What is so special about SMU according to you, Divya?
Okay, I'm still thinking about it. I mean, it was special for sure, but I think one thing which I found is very unique for universities in Singapore. I mean, um, is the professional experience that you get, which is part of the curriculum. I think that's very unique to SMU. You don't get it in NUS or NTU because it's compulsory for you to get your credits through your internship, which is part of your curriculum. I think everyone's quite motivated to find an internship in Singapore. And once you work in Singapore, I think it gives you a deeper insight into the industry and also understanding, okay, how does the market work in Singapore? So yeah, I think once I started working in Singapore, I realized that the work culture can be really, really different from India. Before joining SMU, I was working back in India as well. So I think once I started working in Singapore through my internship, I felt okay. There can be different parts to the working culture. So yeah.
Thanks so much for that, Divya. Anushka, what made your SMU MIM experience special?
Yep, actually, Divya made a good point about career. I was also thinking, so SMU believes in a pedagogy system. Sorry, I might be mispronouncing it, but it basically makes you speak in class. You can't just get away with coming to class, showing up, listening to whatever the lecturer has to say, but you're speaking up, you're thinking about it. You're having assignments and projects where you're working in groups to sort of bring that concepts and logic to life, and show your understanding. So it helps nurture you during the coursework, and then you pivot out into the career world trying to make your mark with the knowledge you've learned. So that's what made it special for me.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Divya and Anushka, for that one. Aarti, a lot of candidates here, 500 of you in this room might not come from a typical business or an engineering background. A lot of candidates from India that apply to B school abroad come from that background of either business or engineering, be it computer science. You've come from a biotechnology background. What made you decide moving out of your specialization in biotech to now moving into a business program? Forget SMU, but how did you think about moving from a non-tech background, a non-business background into business? And, what were some of the things that help you take this decision?
First of all, thank you for organizing this session. So for me, during my undergrad, I pursued, different CCA, so co-curricular activities. I also participated in various clubs. So therein, I took management roles, basically roles where I had to lead and manage events. So it was like a specific event for me. So while I was still inexperienced, so I was the management of a Japanese club. So in my first year, I had to organize an event on a very large scale. There were like 500 people which were expected. And at the last moment, in the leading week to that event, there were a lot of mishaps and everything happening. The schedules were behind, and the booths were not set up properly. But therein I had to step up out of my comfort zone and get into that leadership position and lead the whole team through the event. uh, from the from in biology, see, in biology, the basic fundamental unit of life is cell. From there on, you build on the blocks, you get tissues, organs, and all that. I won't go into that jargon. But in the real life also, you can apply that. There are people in a team, working as a different cell. Each one contributes to specific something. So and you end up making something really exciting. So that was the moment, wherein I decided I don't want to be in a lab working. I want to be out there, working with people to build something meaningful. So that is, I decided to transition from biotech to management. Plus, I also did my minor in from second year onwards after this in management only. So that was like a turning point for me to, step from biotechnology to management.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your journey, Aarti, into coming into business and coming into SMU. being in the higher education industry for many years, I've realized that there is a business school for everyone, but everyone's not meant for every business school. So, my question to you, Marie, is that, there are specific students that could do better than the others when they are at SMU. And SMU students, or, some of those students have, let's say, a type. So what are some of the typical students that would thrive in SMU's MIM program? What kind of skills are you looking for when you're recruiting MIM students?
Okay, so I think based on the experience I had with the MIM program and interacting with the MIM students, I think that the students who thrive in the program the most are usually the ones that are curious, adaptable, eager to learn. I always tell them that, it's a very unpredictable world. It's a very volatile world. What you need to have is the mindset to be able to adapt and be able to, make the best of whatever situation that you have, thrown at you. So most of our MIM students actually do come in with little or no work experience, but we want them to have that clear desire to want to build that strong foundation in business and management. And then I think at the end of the day, is stepping out of your comfort zone, actively networking with the people around you, your classmates, your faculty. And then also, I think taking charge, taking ownership of your learning. I think that's very important. So we want students who, are collaborative, good at communicating, and, not just in the classroom, but also, making the most of all the opportunities that they have around them.
Perfect. And that brings me to my next question also, Marie, just to you. With the current global environment, a lot of activities happening in the US, a lot of activities happening.
Yeah.
I can't find a different word than activities, but uncertainty, you mentioned volatile. I think I'm going into all those kind of words itself. In different places where, job markets are up and down, Singapore has slowly picked up as a top destination for Indian students to pursue their master's program. What makes Singapore special? I know we've learned a lot about what makes SMU special. Let's learn about a little bit about Singapore as a geography, in your experience of staying there for so long. And I'd invite Divya and Anushka to also chime in to, Singapore as a country. How is that exciting for international students?
I think that the main thing would be the job security. That is what, a lot of students who come to Singapore, the main reason they have chosen Singapore. I think firstly, proximity. Secondly, it's the security. I think Singapore is a relatively stable country in terms of the economic point of view. It's also a very safe country. I love Singapore. I love that, that the students can come to Singapore and they can just concentrate solely on their studies. You don't have to worry about a lot of other external things that you may have to worry about in other countries. So that's just my point of view. Maybe we can extend it to also the other alumni. Maybe you can share your experiences as well.
Divya, Anushka, if you'd like to share a little bit about what makes Singapore special.
I think for me, before I came for my master's in Singapore, I think before that I had come here once for vacation with my parents, and I really loved the country in terms of how clean, how safe, and how green it was. But once I came to Singapore, I think it gave me more reasons to like Singapore. I think one thing is for sure that, at least for Indian students, it's extremely easy to transition into this country. I was only 21 when I moved to this country, and I never felt that I was alone in any way. If I could make sense of it, in the sense that being a master student, I was not living in a hostel per se. I was living in an apartment by myself. I had to find my own apartment. I had to find my own furniture. I had to sign a lease. I had to do all the, adulting activities that any person does. But I never felt that, I'm alienated in any way, or I am being challenged, which I am not able to fulfill up to. So I feel that Singapore is very safe that way. So if someone is moving out of their house for the first time, I think Singapore is the best option, because nothing can go wrong. I mean, even if you're trying to be foolish and you make some mistakes which can actually be harmful to you, in other countries, I think Singaporeans are so uh, strict by the rules that they will never do anything wrong towards you. So I think that way no one can make you a fool, and they won't steal your money, or they won't kidnap you, or they won't just take extra money from you. So I think that way Singapore is great.
Thanks for that, Divya. Anushka, your experience?
Yep. I think multiple things. There's something for everybody. There's always an opportunity. If you're a person who likes outdoor activities, there is something, even though Singapore looks small on the map, there are a lot of things to do. It's a paradise for foodies. That I would highly recommend, no matter what cuisine you're going in for. And you always find a community, not just within SMU, but if you just hang out with people, it's very easy to find a community, build that local network as well. And it's good to start building this because you have like a background support system and they can help you with opportunities in future as well. So it's always nice to meet new people. So go for any opportunities with that.
Super. Thanks, Divya, Anushka, and Marie. I'd like to quickly add on because I have, very close to Singapore. I did a part of my master's in Singapore and also worked in Singapore for a year. So I'm surprised that neither of you all mentioned wonderful words like Clarke Quay and Boat Quay, where it's a great place for students to hang out after class. Outdoor activities, including Sentosa. It's proximity to home. It's like a 4 to 6 hour plane ride to go to any major Indian city. And it's also proximity to home because every second lane has some very tasty Indian restaurants as well. So you might be 6 hours away from home, but like you're 6 minutes away from some Cologne good food, Indian food as well. So that's about proximity, which is why even I selected Singapore, where I wanted to do some work right after I finished my program, which unfortunately wasn't at SMU. I wish it was, but it wasn't at SMU. Moving on, I think we want to talk about the MIM program. A lot of questions have come in the chat between, what is this MIM program? I know it's a term that has come up only in the last decade or so. Everyone thinks an MBA program in India, for your information, Marie, you can technically do an MBA right after you finish graduation, but an MBA abroad is with work experience. But I know the MIM does not require any work experience. So two questions. What is the difference between an MIM program and an MBA program? And second question is that we understand work experience is not a requirement, but are there any positives to get, like maybe get a year or so of work experience and then apply to the MIM program?
Okay, so this is a very common question. So I would say that, I'll speak on behalf of like the SMU LKCSB program. So for our MIM program, the Master of Science in Management, we have two general management programs. So we have the MIM program, we have the MBA program. So the MIM is what we would say the pre-experience program, and then the MBA is then the post-experience program. Because for our MBA program, we have a minimum work requirement of 2 years in order for you to be eligible to apply. So at the point of application. But for the MIM program, you don't have to have any work experience at all. So it's from 0 work experience, so fresh graduates, all the way to up to 3 years of work experience. I would say that the average work experience for our current cohort is about less than a year. So you can see the type of students that are interested in taking on the MIM. Now, if you have the work experience, it's an advantage, to your application. So there are students who are caught, in the in-between, like, I've hit the 2-year mark. So should I do the MIM or should I do like the MBA program? Right. So I would say that it very much depends on your learning style and what you're comfortable with. So I do have students who, even though they've already hit 2.5 years, they still go for the MIM because for them, they are more comfortable with learning with a younger crowd in a sense. Because like I mentioned earlier, right, the average age is about 25. So majority of the MIM students are around the same age. Yeah. So in terms of like the mindset, in terms of the learning, you can see that you're going to be with like-minded peers in that sense. But for the MBA program, because it's quite varied, right? It's minimum 2 years, but it can go all the way up to 10 years and sometimes even more. Yeah, so you can imagine the type of experience, peers that you will be learning with in the classroom. So if you think that that's an advantage to you, then, by all means, I think the MBA would be better fit for you. But if you feel like, you want to learn with students who are, in the same position of you, like, in the same time of their lives, then you go for the MIM program. The conversations will definitely be different as well, taking into consideration the profile of the students, the class profile. So that also would be a factor for you in terms of whether you decide to go for the MIM or for the MBA program. I think another thing interesting also is to look at the specializations as well. So for the MIM, the specialization tracks that we offer are quite unique. One thing that I do like about the MIM program, so I've covered several postgraduate programs here in SMU, and the most recent being the MIM program. What I like about the MIM program and the academic director, what he does is that he's constantly reviewing the curriculum to make sure that it's like relevant and it's keeping up with the time. So in just like the past year, we've seen like 2 updates to our curriculum already. So I think it's a very robust curriculum. It's a curriculum that is very attractive to what students are looking for now as well. So yeah, there are different considerations, but I think very much depends on what you want to get out of the program, what your learning style is, what your objectives are, and then you can make the decision from there. I hope I answered your question.
You did. Thank you so much for that, Marie. And I think you also covered about how the MIM program has been evolving with the new age of AI and everything happening because of AI right now. Except you know, B schools are not, not advancing. Everyone's trying to do, more stuff with AI as well. Next up, Divya, and we're talking about the curriculum. So, Divya, Anushka, if you could share a little bit about your academic experience at SMU. You are, into a particular role at KPMG. And I know, Anushka, you've had a lot of work experience where you have picked up certain foundations, and now you're pursuing a different program which is more of a specialized master's and the MIM is more of a general management master's. So first I'll ask you, Divya, um, how was your academic experience at SMU, and then how is that academic experience helping you do your job at KPMG today?
So I think the academic experience was pretty good. So before, I think I'll just give a quick background. Before SMU, I did my bachelor's BCom honors, bachelor's in commerce, from Delhi University. So essentially, that was heavy with accounting, finance, etc. So when I moved to SMU, the first semester was like the core module. So we used to have basic subjects like accounting, economics, etc. So to make it interesting for us, or if I could say that in a way, to make people not feel that it's a repetitive subject or a repetitive class after your graduation, the professors would call industry experts for interactions. They would share different case studies with us. They would have different, panel discussions as part of the classes that we would have, so that we could actually hear it from the industry experts in terms of what needs to be, what's happening in the industry in terms of the concepts that we're learning in the class. For instance, our economics professor used to get a lot of industry experts across different domains, and we would have interactions with them. And back then, I mean, US-China war is trade war is still quite prevalent, but back then it was a new thing. So every time there would be a speaker coming up, we would talk about, okay, how is it going to impact a particular domain, or how do you see it impacting, or every day, decisions that you're taking. So I think that kind of gave us a lot of insights in terms of how different economic concepts are actually used in the real life. So that was quite interesting. And I think also for accounting, I mean, our accounting professor was really, really amazing. And he would give us, if someone scored the highest in the exam, he would give us a beer, or he would just take us out for a coffee or something. So that was really cool coming out of India. So that was really new to me.
Thanks, Divya. Anything specifically about your academic experience you'd like to share, Anushka?
Yep. I think so I come from a marketing background for context, right? But those core modules which sort of delved into the like basics of business strategy, accounting, finance, it sort of laid the foundation because it's important to know that basics when you sort of diversify even into a specific track that you want to do. I think the one experience that really stood out for me was the digital marketing course in marketing specialization, in which we had a real life example. We were working with one of the organizations in Singapore that's called DMK, and we had to essentially try to find a way of how we can have them pivot into the whole digital journey because they were very brick and mortar store, but how we could help them diversify. So that hands-on experience talking to the actual owners of the MK was a very interesting experience. I think that would be calling out. But that's only one of the many situations we had to tackle and sort of handle ourselves. At SMU, of course, with guidance, but those kind of things are really interesting and treating.
Superb. So I think the academic experience has been quite enriching for the alumni, as well, from real world case studies to actually, if you do well in class, come let me take you out for a beer or let me take you out for a coffee. Who doesn't like that kind of motivation from professors? My next question again has been a lot of questions have come around this in the Q&A tab. I'm going to try and summarize them. We're talking a little bit about careers and career opportunities post the MIM program. While I go ahead and ask the question, we still have 400 of you in this room. We still have around 10 to 15 minutes more. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A tab. We'll try and consolidate these, your questions. Or if it's a super interesting question, it could be my next one as well. So, so please flood the Q&A tab with questions in case you have any. Marie, we'll start with you. In India, after you complete your graduation, there are something known as placements, where there are, companies that come on campus and hire, sometimes two or three, but also around 20, 25 people for their, like respective roles. We understand that placements is not a concept outside of India. It's more on, career services. Could you take us through what a student goes through and how does SMU and the career services team support students, international students, to help them have better chances of getting jobs? Could you throw some light on that?
Okay, so I think because of the compulsory internship component that we have, we do have to, ensure that we also provide our students, with the necessary resources that they require, especially since it's the first time, many students are here in Singapore as well. So from the moment students join the program, right away, there will be a career coach that will reach out to them and introduce themselves, get to know them. This career coach will do things like career coaching, so helping you to spruce up your resume, like I mentioned earlier. So I think it's very important to use this time to get to know your career coach and also kind of share your aspirations and your motivations and what is it that you want to do after you've graduated from the program, so that they can kind of give you, industry-specific tips, advice, as well as point you in the right direction, right? So at the end of the day, it's a general management program. So we are seeing people who are coming from different industries, different backgrounds, and all wanting to, all aspiring to go into those different industries and backgrounds as well. So it is very important for you to keep and maintain that relationship with the career coach, and fully utilize all the resources that we are going to give you. So a lot of times, I think students do get overwhelmed when they join the program. They get overwhelmed by the academic side of things. I would say that, for me, my advice for you would be to just kind of take a step back and, make and be intentional in everything that you do. Right. So I think that's very important. Maintaining the relationship with your career coach, making sure that you attend all the events. So there's going to be a lot of activities and events that are going to be organized for you. So networking is very important. Make sure that, you do make the time for the ones that are important and relevant to you, especially. We do conduct job fairs, so both internally and externally. So when I say internally, I mean like on the SMU campus, we will have job fairs. We do have job fairs that are organized on campus. And we do invite students for job fairs that are held externally as well. So when our partners have certain career fairs, we will let our students know the details and we'll invite them to attend it. On top of that, we also do have this thing called the SMU On Track. So what that is that it's a SMU job portal specifically for SMU students where they can actually go and log in and look out for all their internship and career opportunities as well. Yeah, I think another thing that a lot of students have feedback to me about, which they found particularly useful also, is the postgraduate professional development workshops as well. So apart from this career coaching, we also do have workshops that will help students to grow not just academically, but also in all the other skills that we think are just as important as well, such as critical thinking or negotiation. So I know it's a very long list, and students do get to choose certain workshops. They just have to meet like a certain number of workshops in order to hit the credit unit. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Not
Thanks so much for that, Marie. Sorry, please go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I'm not sure if our alumni would like to elaborate.
Yeah, I will ask them that question and also a little bit more for the alumni as well. But I'd like to summarize everything that Marie says for SMUs, international students, and for the national students as well. There are opportunities when it comes to workshops on soft skills, on hard skills. There are career training sessions. There's personalized coaching. There is alumni networking sessions. There are job fairs on campus. There are job fairs outside of campus as well. Everything is for all SMU students to make some note of. There are some couple of questions on a similar line around careers. Divya, Anushka, if you would also like to share, apart from the concept of career services, what was your experience with the career services team? And also try and share one line about how did you land your internship? Whenever you did it in your program, what role did SMU play? How did you land it? And if you faced any challenges, how did you overcome them? Anushka, if you'd like to go first on this one.
Yep, definitely. So I think one thing, and I always say this is, start very early. Um, Connect with the career services, build up your resume, have those soft skills set up. Because it's very difficult to just cram everything together when you're actually looking for it. So I was part of the Jan intake. So my internship fell from Jan to August, right? So I started back in Jan, Feb itself, had my resume set up. Um, it was a bit different for me because I also chose to do an internship while I was studying, which is crammed everything. But that was a fun experience because I got on hands experiences into digital marketing, along with the study and coursework as well. So eventually, when I was actually looking for an internship, I think this was probably August, September, in this time frame. I attended one of the career fairs, and I remember it was after a professional photo shoot. So we were all sitting in the lobby trying to get into the career fair, and it was a virtual career fair because COVID times. But we got into conversation with few of the HRs, and that's how I landed my internship. That also converted into a full-time job. So that I think is the best pathway you can take. Start early for the whole process itself. And I think to find a job, the best bet eventually is to try to do your best at your internship and most likely convert that because there's a high conversion rate, I think, across the batches as well, across the alums. Right.
Thanks, Anushka. Divya, I'd like to share your opinion on this.
Yeah, I think I agree with Anushka for sure. Internship is the sure shot, not really the sure shot, but actually the safest option for us to actually work hard and not just to get a full-time job, but also to build up our resume good enough to even at least go ahead and just look for a job outside your internship if you have to, because my internship did not convert into a full-time job. So essentially, then I had to go out and, look out for a job. But I think coming back to the original question, which was how did we land up with an internship? Apart from the resources that Mary had mentioned, I think for me, what really worked out was I started reaching out to people on LinkedIn. So this was something I was doing on my own, and I was sending cold messages to different professionals who were based in Singapore, and I would try to get on a chat with them, either on call or over coffee, and try to explain them, okay, what am I doing in SMU? What have I done before SMU? what I want to do in future. And luckily, I think I was able to manage to find people who could help me get an internship first, and then of course the full-time job. So I would just say that it's not easy first. It's not an easy market. It's a very competitive market. Imagine two most competitive races coming together, which is Chinese and Indians living in Singapore, and they are competing for jobs. It's going to be a havoc, of course. But I think if someone's hardworking and someone's able to deliver what they are saying, I think it's a long way for them, and they can always consider Singapore as their home. They can get as many jobs as they want.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. I think, along with Marie, it makes three people here who have landed successfully jobs in Singapore. So, including me, I also graduated and found a job in Singapore. So, wonderful. Thank you for that. We're going to try and look for some audience questions. I know there are still 13 unanswered questions, and a lot of questions have come. Most of it we have covered. One thing that we might not have covered, my question to you, Marie, which also looks at Aarti's profile. How does SMU look at candidates that are coming from non-traditional backgrounds? I know you have admitted, Aarti into your program, so there is proof in the pudding already that if you're not an engineer or not a business or a BCom student, you're still invited to SMU's program. What is SMU's take on inviting candidates to apply from non-traditional backgrounds? You're on mute, sorry, Marie.
Hello, sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, definitely we are welcoming, students from all backgrounds, actually. I mean, in fact, like very happy to have, students who bring that diversity, because I think that there's a lot of value in diversity, especially since I mentioned that, peer-to-peer learning is something that is something that we place a lot of importance on in the SMU classroom. So diversity will be very important for us. It's something that we do value. I think that the common misconception is that you need to have a business degree in order for you to succeed, but I don't think that's the case, because what the curriculum is designed to do is actually to level the playing field, right? So we're teaching you all these core business fundamentals before we move into more advanced topics. Yeah. So I think, like what I mentioned earlier, most important is what we're looking for is that you have the drive, to succeed in what you want to achieve. And also, the willingness to learn, and also the ability to be able to adapt to all the different scenarios and the different situations that are going to be thrown at you. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. While we almost wrap up this question, I'm going to ask Aarti the next question, which is, my last. But for all the 300 of you that are still here, if you'd like to know a little bit more about your profile and have individual conversations with the admissions team, Marie has been kind enough to open a link, which is currently in the chat, where you get to reserve your slot and speak directly to the admissions team. It's happening tomorrow, so try and find that 30 minutes. Maybe do it during your lunch break or something like that. Just to ensure you have a chat and know a little bit about SMU and your chances of getting in. You have personalized questions about your profile. Unfortunately, I've not been able to ask questions because that is one profile specific. But if you have something you'd like to share, I'll leave everyone with the last question. And we've spoken about experiences of Divya, of Anushka, and Marie has shared so much information, wonderful information about SMU. We'd like to hear from you, Aarti. Heart or not, what are you most excited about over the next 18 months? When do you start this program? I believe you start next month. When are you, or you might have already started, what are you most excited about over the next 18 months in your SMU's MIM?
So Yeah, so I'm the most excited about, meeting new people, networking with the right people, and to be in Singapore because, I have lived in Singapore for 1 month during a study abroad program. So it's like a very happening city as compared to, where I live currently. So even though it's very small, like there are so many activities, there are so many things you can do. I'm also, looking forward to, exploring the different countries nearby because I'm open to traveling, and Singapore, everything is really near. In for SMU specifically, I would really love to network and to get through the lectures, increase my business knowledge, and meet the right kind of people. That is all I'm looking forward to. An amazing experience basically in the upcoming 18 months, starting on 25th August, I guess.
Wonderful. 25th August. You have just 2 more weeks to be at home, and after that, you will be in Singapore. We are just about out of time, and I know that there are, we've answered 35 questions, plus there are 17 open questions still there, but I know that we've answered a lot of them through the other conversations that we've had. Once again, I'd like to quickly invite and introduce Seema to just, put her camera on and say hello to all the candidates who Seema, if you'd like to give an introduction about you and your profile and how candidates can get in touch with you.
So thank you so much, Sharan. By the way, I hope you guys have gotten all the replies. I've tried to answer as much as I can in the Q&A, and I know that Marie has actually been answering as well. So my name is Seema Forekyard, and I will be the country manager India for Singapore Management University. Feel free to actually reach out. I do come with over a decade of experience as well in the education industry, and I was previously with GMAC. A lot of people would have seen me be in a lot of sessions as well. I know a bunch of people I've met earlier as well. So really excited to be here and interact with all of you. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Seema. I think, Murray, any last words? We are just about out of time. And, while you give those last words, I want to take this opportunity to thank you, Divya, Anushka, Aarti, and Seema for being a part of this special, session. And especially thanks to you, Murray. It's quite late, in Singapore. So, I'd like to thank you guys, for taking our time. But any last word to the 270 of us that are on this call and thinking about applying to SMU?
Yeah, so I'm really excited to be, receiving your applications. If you want to speak more, very happy to speak more in detail tomorrow, because I know I'm seeing a lot of very specific questions. So I think we can address that separately. But I am also seeing some comments on how they are not able to get the link. If I could just, do you think I should just share the QR code one more time, or?
I can just share the link once again on chat. So for people that join a little late, I've pasted the link once again on the chat, so you can just click on that link and you'll have access to it. And if you want, Marie, tomorrow morning we can send a message out to all the attendees as well if they'd like to attend this session.
Perfect. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time, to listen to us. Yeah, just happy to have more conversations if you need, or reach out to any of us if you have any other questions that you'd like to clarify with us. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Superb. It's 8:30. It's past 8:30 here in India, and it's obviously way past a lot of people's bedtime in Singapore, but they've been nice enough to take this up. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. This session was hosted by Seed Global Education. My name is Sharang, and thank you to alumni, incoming students, and representatives of Singapore Management University. Have a nice rest of the evening, and goodbye and bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.